This is different than the other asparagus recipe we have going for the spring. This one has leeks in it, and I have leeks soaking in here in the water. Leeks are really gritty, so you want to chop them and you want them a little soak in the water to get all that grittiness out. And what I'm doing is cutting them a little smaller. You can have some of the green on there, mostly the white, but some of the green is fine. I cut it in half, and then I have like half circles, and then I'm going to slice it to about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. You don't want it too thick because you're gonna see we're gonna cook it in butter. Okay. Once again, you cut that in half. Okay. Then down. You can line up 2 at a time, and then cut down. Okay. There we go. So we're gonna let those leeks just soak for a minute in the water. Kind of move them around in a bowl of water. Separate them up so that any of that grit. Sometimes the leeks are pretty clean, but you'll be surprised if you get some really, really fresh ones, or some from the farmer's market or whatever. They can have a lot of dirt in them. Okay, we're using about 2 medium-sized leeks. So you can use 1 big, large leek. The asparagus, instead of leaving it whole, this time I was talking about the other recipe. You could go like this. You get your tender parts from your hard or fibrous part, or you can line them up. And what we're going to do is cut them in an angle, 2 or 3 at a time. Line them up. You're going to cut like 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches, and then you're going to stop when you get the end pieces like that. You don't want to use that. That's fibrous. So you're going to have most of your green part that's tender, and that's going to be the main amount of the asparagus you're going to use. Okay, there we go. Just leave those fibrous ends at the end, and then we got our pile of our asparagus. Next we have parsley. Parsley we rinsed out in water before, then we shook it out. I'm using curly parsley. You can use Italian parsley. If you have a little bit of the stems on there, it's okay. I'm going to chop back and forth. Okay, get that all, not a super fine chop. Like a rough chop's fine. It's good. But make sure you do rinse out your parsley. Use the back of my knife. Okay, put that off to the side. Should have one of those bench scrapers. And that's about it. We've got our leeks, asparagus, parsley chopped up. Alright, we kind of preheated our pan, and we're going to put in a tablespoon of butter. Pretty hot, right? You don't want to burn it. Okay. Next we're going to put in our leeks. Spread those around. We got a high heat on right now. I turned it up. It was medium, then I turned it to high. You don't want to burn that butter too much though. If you get a little brown, it's fine. Turn up my heat. And let that start sauteing. Alright, leeks sauteing for like 2 or 3 minutes. Then we're going to add our asparagus. Spread that around. Keep your heat high. Toss that around. Season it. Salt and pepper. Keep your heat high. About 3 more minutes. You're going to add a cup of water. It's going to be about halfway up the amount of vegetables you have. You might have to go a little bit more, depending on the size pans you have. Spread that around and let that come to a simmer. Keep moving your asparagus around and let it keep simmering. You can also use veg stock or chicken stock. So now we have a nice rapid simmer. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Stir that around. Let it keep simmering. with the mustard in there. Move it all around. We're going to slow down our heat to a low heat. We have the liquid almost reduced by half. Now I got it on a low heat. I'm going to go another 5 minutes. We're going to taste this liquid and see how salty it is, because you have the mustard in there. We're going to add a little more salt and pepper. Now you can see how the liquid's cooked down. It's almost down by 3/4. That's a good sign. And our asparagus, taste it. Tastes nice and tender, but not too soggy, right? Now what we're going to do is add our parsley. We're going to turn off our heat. Turn your heat off all the way at your parsley. And then we're going to put in the last of the butter. That's about a tablespoon and a half of cold butter. And you just turn it off. And you're going to mix that butter in there at the end. So let it incorporate. You don't need any more heat. This is going to add some richness to it. Check your seasoning one more time. That's it. So this, once again, this can go on the side or on top of rice or pasta, more like on top of rice, or just as a side dish. You're going to have some juice, which is part of it. And we had that, remember you turned off the heat as soon as you added that butter. And the butter will thicken up the juices a little bit. The asparagus will get a little light in color because that's from the cooking down so far. But once again, you don't want to cook the asparagus so it's too mushy. You want to have a slight crunch to it to give it that texture.